was the mind. It dealt everything with the way that you think, the way you think about relationships, the way you think about who you are and what God is doing in your life and in your relationships as a whole. Okay, we're better. All right. So all last night was the mind. So it's heart, it's mind, and tonight I want you to put it in the chat. We're talking about your soul, S-O-U-L. Everything tonight has to do with soul alignment. Right? Say it with me. Soul.
Soul alignment.
Soul alignment. So the entire purpose of this evening is to make sure that your soul is properly calibrated and that you know and understand everything God's trying to do to align you in life with purpose, to align you in life with the right people, so that you don't miss out on any good thing God's trying to do in you. All right, so I'm gonna pray tonight.
Okay.
This is it, night 3.
Yeah.
We're gonna pray our way into this, and then we're gonna see what God does in this next hour. So Father, for everyone that's online tonight, those that are already in the room, those that are coming in the room, I'm praying that as we jump into this final night of relationship revolution, you bring our souls into alignment with what your word and your will is for us. You open us up to everything that it is you want us to see and do. And our hearts are open to your direction and your directives. We believe it to be so in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Listen, tonight, again, we're dealing with soul alignment. Remember, when we're talking about the soul, we're dealing with everything with our thoughts, our will, and our emotions, as well as our capacity for a relationship with God, okay? So that is important to know when we're dealing with soul work. All right, so we're dealing with relational alignment, divine partnership, and spiritual purpose. Pastor, can I open up with this story real quick? Y'all, I remember, I'm from a little small city, okay? It's outside of Selma, Alabama. I tell people I'm from Selma, Alabama, but really I'm from a place called Beloit. B-E-L-O-I-T. I know y'all never heard of it. Beloit, Alabama, okay? And in this little town, y'all, my little family, we thought a Cadillac was everything. If your family had the Cadillac, baby, you was the end-all, be-all. So for my high school graduation gift, y'all, I graduated in 98. I got me a 98 Cadillac DeVille. Not the Seville, DeVille, okay? Y'all, that thing floated like me. I took that bad boy to A&M, and everybody was looking at me with my Cadillac. People used to want to race me. Now, if you know anything about A&M, we called the school the Hill, okay? The school at this time, before they got our buses, they got fancy now, we would drive ourselves. Y'all, I would come through there wide open on them speed bumps. Wide open. Y'all knocked the alignment clean out of the car. I was scared to call home. I was steering, and y'all, I would be steering, and the car would be veering this way. Now, this was a brand new car. And I was a young driver, 18-year-old driver, had no business with a car of that nature, and knocked the alignment. That sucker was nasty. It was black on black, black leather seats. It was black, it was shiny, honey. And let me tell you something. Knock the alignment clean off. Even something brand new. Not really knowing the value of what I had. And having to take something brand new, coming over bumps. And some of us have found ourselves like that in relationships. Yeah. And listen, it's still a beautiful thing. Yeah. We don't throw the car away, right? We don't throw the car away just because a little bit of alignment out, right? We just take it to get a little bit of tune-up. And tonight, and these last few nights, all we're doing is just giving a little bit of a tune-up.
Because here it is, guys. Simply put, that's a perfect example, honestly. God is not just trying to give you a partner. He's trying to give you alignment. So he's not just trying to give you someone to fill a role in your life, to say that you got somebody.
Yeah.
What he's trying to do is make sure that every part of you is properly aligned, so that as you're moving into everything that God calls you for, everything that he graces you for, you have complete alignment. So tonight's message, you can put it in the chat, alignment. God is trying to align your soul, both with heaven and his directions, but also who he pairs and couples into your life. He wants you matched up with the right people. So let's start it off like this. You ready?
Yeah.
We're gonna start off segment one. It's called "What's Love Got to Do with It?"
Oh, you say that.
What's
love got to do? Got to do? I feel like I want to put a little show. It's the last night because I want to put a little show. What's love but a second-hand emotion? Okay, I'm sorry. I had to get that.
Listen. But that's it. It's when love is not enough. Because often we make decisions based on an idea that love will be more than enough for us to do what it is or to be sustained in a relationship, when the truth is love is not enough. Like if you're baking a cake, right? And let's just say a pound cake, because pound cake just happens to be my favorite. If you're making a pound cake and all you have is flour, you don't have any wet ingredients, you ain't got no butter, you have no sour cream, you have no vanilla extract, all you got is flour. And you put flour in its raw form into an oven. It doesn't matter how long you bake it, it's not going to give you the outcome of a pound cake that you're expecting. Why? One ingredient is not enough to make up an entire cake. You actually need a duplicity, a multiplicity of different things in order to make it work. So what we want to be sure that you know and understand is that, yeah, it's great to love somebody, but it's not enough just to be in love. Love in itself is not enough. You need agreement and you need alignment for your assignment. Say it again. You need agreement and you need alignment for your assignment. I'm going to say it one more time. You need agreement and you need alignment for your life assignment. This is for your life assignment. You need the right ingredients and you need to be sure that for everything God calls and creates you for, it's not, you don't keep stuff around just because you love it. Because some stuff that you love is not necessarily good for you.
Listen, and we just want to do a few key points. Key point number one, love can attract you, but alignment sustains you. Okay? Yep. Love can attract you, alignment sustains you. Listen, love, what Tina said, is a second-hand emotion, right? Love, if love was all that we need, do you know how many people went to the divorce saying, we love each other, but we couldn't sustain because we had no alignment. Somewhere we got out of balance. We forgot to get the small tune-ups. We cannot forget the small tune-ups. Listen, this is even in your single life. There are moments where you have to say, I have to do this soul work. If I do not do this soul work, I will not be able to process things properly. And I will be out of alignment. And listen, every time you try to steer that wheel to go the right way, it's going to drag you back because you are out of alignment. You need more than love. You need something that is going to sustain you. And that's something, I feel churchy. What is that something?
Listen. But that's the truth. So I think that often we fall for what we are attracted by.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have the ability to maintain and keep you long term. Like for instance, how many of you all have ever fell in love with somebody, felt like overnight, and what you discovered over time was that it wasn't really love, it was infatuation.
Yeah.
You were infatuated with the way that they smelled, the way that they moved, the way that they responded, but it wasn't something that could truly be sustained. Because the truth is, if you're out of alignment with who God's called you for, there is no sustainability outside of alignment. Yeah. You'll have the feelings, but feelings shift. Let's be honest. Have there been days you loved me, but you didn't like me?
Absolutely.
Okay, you were supposed to say yes. You were supposed to say
no.
Oh,
not really, baby. Yeah, no, tell the truth.
But it's the truth. There are days that, like, I love you, but I don't know how much we like each other. You have your moments, you have your seasons. But when you are aligned, alignment is created to sustain you, to make sure you don't fall. Now, on top of that, it's very possible to fall in love with somebody who is not assigned to your future. I'm going to say it again. It's possible that you can fall in love with somebody who's not assigned to your future. I'm going to say this for every single person that is watching this or will watch this. I want you to really ensure that your soul is healthy enough that when God sends the right person or the right individual into your life or your future, your soul is healthy enough to discern if they are a truth or if they are a counterfeit. I want your heart to be aligned enough because it's very possible you can fall in love with somebody that has no future assignment as it pertains to your life. I'm going to say it again. That you can fall in love with somebody who has no future as it pertains to what it is you were called and created for. So I don't want you to fall in love with a good idea. I don't want you to fall in love with biceps and triceps. And even for the married couples, you're already married and you may say, you know what? Some of this may have started on shifty foundation, but let me realign our why. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Let us realign our purpose and the whole reason why we came together, because I don't want to be in love with somebody that God didn't send to be with me for the rest of my life. The last one has everything to do with compatibility.
Listen, compatibility is more than shared interests. It's shared direction. Okay, listen, now let me take it because y'all know we church people, right? And we say, oh my God, I met them in church. So we got to be going in the same direction. We got to be showing up for the same thing. Honey, I had a kid I read by somebody in the church. That does not mean that we are going in the same direction. Just because we have some shared interests. I like the movies, you like the movies. I like fashion, you like fashion. I like I like to cook, you like to cook. You like to take trips, I like to take trips. But when it comes down to our purpose and where we're designed to go and the direction we're supposed to be steering, and when we're out of alignment, you're saying, man, I feel God calling to, and you're steering back over here. And you're saying, but they're saying, but I feel we'll call. And then you look up and say, that doggone it. This is not where I planned on being. Especially at this age in my life. And I just kind of been pulled and tossed along because the alignment is out, because I have not taken the time to properly do the soul work. And when I do not do the soul work, I cannot filter what the Lord is saying to me to do for my direction. And so I just go with wherever the wind blows or whatever feels like it look like it's somebody.
So the scripture for this, or the word on this, is real simple. How can two walk together unless they agree?
Yeah.
The truth of it is this. We can say that we're going in the same direction and that we're doing together what it is that God has called or created us to do. But there has to be a place of alignment and agreement that brings to pass what God's desire and what God's will is for us. So here are the things, single and married, I want you to ask yourself today. Are we going in the same direction, or are we just walking at the same pace? Because it's very possible that we can be paced in different places, right? We can be walking in different directions, that we may be moving at the same speed, but that speed is not aligned in walking together. What God is trying to do is ensure that you have relationships that are working in parallel with what it is you were called and created for, but you're always going to miss those moments. You're going to miss what it is that God has called you to and for, if you're concerned about being in pace with someone, but that pace is going in the wrong direction. Number two.
Are our lives moving in parallel purpose or in polite coexistence?
I think for every married couple, you may want to ask yourself, are we doing this together, or are we simply coexisting in the same space? Are we just breathing the same air?
We roommates.
Are we roommates?
Yeah.
Or are our
We ain't
lives
fighting and arguing, but we not on the same page either.
Everything matters with alignment.
Yeah.
You want to be sure that your relationship is aligned.
Yeah.
For every person that's already dating or has someone that's of serious interest, you got to ask yourself, like, are we just coexisting because we don't want to have a label of being by ourselves?
Right, time,
Yes.
age,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Clock is ticking, right? And we're saying, well, they nice enough.
Enough.
They don't cuss me out.
Right.
They don't hit me. Now, I don't know about purpose, but we can politely coexist though.
And it goes back to the settling piece we were talking about last night. The place where you settle because you feel like this is the best I can get. I think, and I'm not going to do a poll. I don't want to do a poll of those that are on the night. But I think if we were in our community to do an anonymous relationship poll,
Yeah.
you would discover that there are individuals, I'm not going to say most, but there are individuals that ended up together because they settled, but their purpose isn't paralleling. Consequently, now they're just coexisting
Yeah.
together. They're not growing together, they're just coexisting
And
together.
somebody's privately frustrated,
Mhm.
bitterness sets in,
Yep.
right? Staleness sets in, and nobody is really having any forward momentum.
Yep. It ain't fun anymore.
Yeah.
You're just there, just to be there.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no direction, there's no purpose, there's no movement. All right, but that's all with like section 1. The next part I want to talk about is a purpose before partnership, and it's really simple. And this is for singles, this is for married couples, this is for everybody. That before God gave you a partner, He gave you a purpose. That God did not hold your call in life up to wait for somebody to come in to make it better. Here's the truth of it. If we take it back biblically, when God created Adam, God gave Adam a life assignment, made Adam work in his life assignment before He pulled Eve out of Adam. Here's why. God will send people to complement your purpose, but He doesn't send anybody to complete who you are. You're already complete in Jesus Christ. And I think, if we're honest, there are individuals that truly believe that finding the right spouse is going to be the thing that completes me, when the truth of it is, you're already complete. Matter of fact, just put that in the chat real quick. I'm already complete. You're already him. You're already her. You're already a man or woman that is full of purpose and destiny. And though God may send someone into your life that becomes a complement, P-L-E, not compliment, not they telling you you're cute. No, that comes alongside of you to help bolster or walk alongside of what you were born or created for. The truth is, your purpose was already in alignment with God before He ever sent you a partner. He'll make you work a field. He'll make you work your call and your destiny and who you're called to be before He brings anybody in to help lift it up. Why? Because He'll never want you to believe that who He sends is responsible for who you become. Yeah, here's the truth. Whoever God sends, they're going to complement what God created you for, but they're not responsible for who God made and created you to be. They will make what you do look better. And here's the truth. But before God sent me a Fanika, I was already doing what it was God called me to do. I was already preaching. She was already preaching.
I was already preaching.
We were already moving in separate spaces of life. But what happened for me, when God sent me a Fanika, it made what I did better, but it didn't take away from what I was already doing. It complements, but it's the right partnerships that give your purpose the type of complements that they truly need.
So listen, whatever's been holding you back, you said, I'm gonna wait to do this.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I've heard
Absolutely.
people say this.
Yep.
I've heard women Actionable, and they say, well, I feel called to ministry, or I feel called to do this, and I feel called to do this. And they say, but I'm gonna wait till my husband show up to be a cover for that. No, when he shows up, you should already be walking in your
Absolutely.
purpose and what you're called to do. You don't see pastor and co-pastor because my husband has a church. You see it because I was already doing ministry and preaching since I was 18, 19 years old. Now, once we joined and married and God began to show us our purpose and what we was going to do and our call and all of those things, it was like, oh my God, here I was. Now, this is what happened with me. I thought I was only called to women.
Yep.
I thought I was only called to single mothers. I had boxed my ministry in and what I thought. And once I joined in marriage, it was like, no. I did have someone speak, said that there is more to you than just women's ministry. You are called to do this. You can go into the workplace. You can be an entrepreneur. You can be all those things, right? But I was already walking in my God-given purpose.
And here's why. You should never have to fully lose you to love someone else.
That's right.
Like there are
or shrink.
You shouldn't have to shrink to be loved. And this is why God will always make you well aware of who you are as he's in the process of sending who's going to complement who he's called and created you to be. Yeah, parts of us, we die daily. Let's be honest. In marriage and relationship, there's a crucifixion that happens on a daily basis. Sure, we die daily, but at the end of the day, I don't lose all of me, all because I want to be loved or because someone wants me to sacrifice all of my dreams, all of my hopes, all of my desires to the point where I shrink into an abyss of nothingness. God called you into purpose before he called you into partnership. He called you to bring to life what he put on the inside of you. And part of your soul work and soul alignment is not losing that call just to have companionship.
And let me just add this in, because I can feel it. You have some say, oh, but I am married, and I did have to pull back. But there's a moment where God sometimes, so for us, let me just talk about us. There was a moment we moved to Arizona. I had an 18-month-old baby, I had a 6-month-old baby, and I had a 6-year-old, okay? And there was a time the Lord said, listen, I need you to be this at the house because this is ministry as well. See, this is the thing about it. It was ministry as well. And so I did not get frustrated when the Lord called me home to take care of my girls and to be sure my husband had a house that can run smoothly so he can do what it was that he was called to do, because we were called to do that. And if I didn't handle my ministry at home, so there was a moment where I came out of the pulpit because that's where my ministry was. But it was a part of our purpose. Yep. Because if I didn't do that and we was worried about me working or who's going to get the kids, and he couldn't build adequately. And when they got to an age, the Lord said, now it's time for you to get back out there. So there would be moments, right? And so for any woman who's felt like, man, there's been moments, kids came in, this changed, you had to take in a mother, a father, a sick parent, or whatever, and I felt like I had to draw back. Remember, that is a part of purpose. And that is a part of ministry as well. I just wanted to throw that in there because I know how the enemy will try to play with you like, oh no, you don't know. I had these kids and he just no. But if you look at it and you change your perspective and you remember your alignment to your house, you'll say, man, this is all a part of God's plan.
It's all about stewarding the season.
Stewarding
the season.
Yeah.
So if you're single, here's what I want you to ask yourself tonight. It's in your homework workbook. So if you have been getting our emails this week, we've sent, thank God for Chaselin.
Thank God for
She has
Chaselin.
sent the email with the workbook out several times to you all this week. But here's the question I want you to ask yourself. What has God called me to build, do, or become before I say I do? For every man that's watching tonight, what has God called you to build, create, or do before you say I do? I know we're naturally pursuers, so our eyes are always looking for who is the one, where is she coming from, where is she at, right? We're always looking. Well, what has God called you to build before she arrives? For every single woman, what has God called you to become fully, to own fully before he sends Mr. Right? Before your knight in shining armor shows up, who has God called and created you to be? Because hear me, and I want you all to hear me man, these ain't supposed to turn like this.
I know it.
Who has God called, what has God called you to be before they show up? Because listen to me, you're not going to need anyone to save you when they show up. You're going to find somebody that syncs with what it is you were already born and created for. You're not going to need someone, you're not going to need a knight in shining armor, because you're already going to be the princess wearing the crown yourself. Yeah. You're already going to be fully owning who it is you're called to be. They're going to walk into a blessing, and they don't even realize they don't have the blessing yet, because you're the favor that comes into their life that makes their life better. Yeah. All right, so what is it that you are, what is your God-given, your God-called assignment before you say I do? That's number one. Number two, for every single person, are you living a full life right now? Like, are you full? Are you enjoying life? Because hear me, if you're not enjoying it in your singleness, I want you to hear me really well as I say this. Let me look at you face to face. If you are not enjoying life in your singleness, I don't want you to think someone showing up in your space is going to give you instant gratification. There will be moments that even someone in your space, someone new in your sphere, is going to cause more angst and frustration than it's going to cause fulfillment. I want to be sure that you find fulfillment in who God has called and created you to do, and that you're enjoying life. I say it all the time. Listen, you're not going to be found in your apartment, right? You're not going to be found in your bedroom. What I want you to do is enjoy life to its fullest. Before you have the responsibility of children, before you have the responsibility of being a wife, before you have the responsibility of being a husband, enjoy every part of life. Do the things that you love to do. We got babies that love to travel. We got babies that love to just go eat and enjoy. We got people that just love to play golf. Whatever your enjoyment is, and if you don't know what it is, discover it now. Don't allow what someone else loves to morph into what you love. Bring to the table, here's what my hobbies are. Here's what I enjoy about life and living. And listen, you can ball on a budget. Hear me what I say. You don't, enjoying life doesn't necessarily mean spending all of your coins. It means seizing every opportunity to breathe fresh air and do what it is that I actually find love and enjoyment in. My question for you is, are you living full now, or are you waiting for someone to come in to give you fulfillment?
And this is why you want to be sure you're living a full life. Because you will get in a marriage and you will almost be smothering to that person. Yep. Because you don't know what to do outside of them. Listen, I'm still a person now. We're about to be married for 18 years. And I enjoy myself, so sometimes I say, all right, now come on out. come on out, sis, and be a part. Come on out. I literally can go to Home Goods, Walmart, don't buy a thing, and be smiling and whistling the whole time because I enjoy my own company. Listen, it sounds funny the way I'm saying it, but it's the truth. And so even married with kids, I had to do self-checks and saying, man, I need to be sure I'm still getting out and doing the things that I love and the things that I like, the things that make Fanika happy. Because if I'm waiting on somebody to bring that happiness, when they're gone or when something come up, I'm going to be just stuck like, right? We don't have time for that. What is going to make your life full now? Do all the things. Listen, you want to get the certification, get it. You want to go back to school and get the degree, go on and do it. Yes. You want to write the book, write it now. Yes. You do not have to wait the things you want to solo travel, do all that. I tell people, I lived an amazing single life, baby. I would get up in the middle of the night and say, you know what, I'm going to New Orleans, and would get in my car and go to New Orleans. Wherever it was I wanted to go, I would do those things because I enjoyed my own company. But you find the thing, and this is for men and for women. Find the thing. So like you said, when you come together with somebody, this is what I like. Oh, I've never tried zip lining. Oh, I would like to try that. Oh, no, I don't have no passport yet. Let me go get this. Oh, I can try. Right? And then we can come in together and we have something to bring instead of just waiting. Like,
so here's the thing with it now. And I'm going to go through the very code. Now, it's possible, hear me, that you can marry someone that does not have the same space of interest that you do. Yeah. Right? All right, so let's talk about football. Let's talk about.
Ain't like the zip line.
Then I got to get to the.
But I'ma hold your stuff and take it.
I gotta get to the coach. I gotta get to the coach. Listen. So, Vanika loves watching Hallmark.
Oh God, yes.
For me, it's not a space of interest whatsoever. I could go to they could cancel Hallmark off the TV right now, and my life wouldn't change at all, right? I'm good without Christmas in July, right? But on the flip side of that, I love thrills.
Yeah.
I love roller coasters. I've raised my children to. I love my heart jumping into my throat. I would bungee jump if my insurance would let me.
I'm the person.
I would. Ooh, and she will watch me ride a roller coaster and be like,
absolutely right.
So this is why you gotta know what you enjoy.
Yeah.
And you gotta be okay that when God sends someone in your life, it doesn't have to be parallel interest to have parallel alignment and purpose. All right. So for every married couple, let me ask you this: Does your relationship reflect or restrict your God-given assignment? Because I want to be sure for couples, and I've got newlyweds, I've got couples that have been married 20 plus years. The thing you've got to ask yourself is, what the person that God has sent into my life, that I've been entrusted with, I'm going to talk to the husbands, the woman, the wife that I've been entrusted with, does she help reflect what God has called me to be, or does it feel like there's a restriction on God-given purpose and God-given assignment for my life? If you feel more restricted than you feel reflective of God-given assignments, now is the time to have conversation. This is part of soul alignment. Because hear me, the part that in marriage that we often don't give ourselves enough credit for or enough grace for is evolution.
Yeah.
Who we said yes to 5 years ago, 5 months ago, 15 years ago, is not the same person that was at that altar.
Absolutely.
Life has happened, children have happened, job loss has happened, some of you may have lost parents, and all of these things help to change really the way our whole composition, our whole disposition. Our love language.
I was just going to say that. My love language changed.
Yeah, they evolve over time, right? So you've got to start to ask yourself, the one that I'm with, do I feel more restricted or reflective of God's will? And if there's something that's out of alignment, how do I pull that thing back into alignment now? So that's one. And then number two, are we building something that's going to last?
Or just survive?
Or are we in survival mode? Now, in full transparency, we know what it is to live in both. Right, so let's, I'm saying this to disarm everyone that's watching tonight. We know what it is to live in a space where we know what we're building is going to have impact and last, but we also know what it is to live and just be getting by. And really thinking, not even day to day, thinking hour to hour. You know what I mean? We know what it is to be in survival. We know what it is to be thriving. You have to ask yourself, am I building a legacy? What God has called me to do, what God has called us to create, is this going to last longer than we're alive? Are we building for legacy purposes, or are we simply building in the right now? I believe that when God brings two people together, it's not supposed to be a flame that burns out really quickly. God calls us together for the purpose of creating legacy, that our children's children's children will know, believe, and receive the blessings, the promises of God, and that they will be able to see what our relationship was and want to reflect in their lives something that God has given us as we've raised and reared them. So I can't say this part enough. Your calling, your assignment should be for building something that's eternal. It should be for legacy. You should be able to build and build well for generations to be able to exist in. Once you're no longer breathing or no longer in the earth, they will still be able to come back and say, man, I'm so glad grandma and granddaddy did, or great grandma and granddaddy was in place to do A, B, C, and D, because you're building, type it in the chat, legacy. You're building something that has eternal reward. That only happens through the promise, the blessing of Matthew 6:33. We seek first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and God will add everything else. As families, as couples, even as singles, when we seek God first, God literally adds everything else that we need. Guys, we're going to wrap it up on this one.
All right, we're going into the last segment 3. Covenant versus convenience.
We talked about this last night.
Yes, we did.
We're going to dig deeper. Let's go. Go ahead.
Discernment and destiny. All right, get us started so we can.
We've talked about that there's a difference between covenant relationships and convenient ones, and this is part of soul alignment. You've got to start to ask yourself, is what I'm pursuing as a single individual, am I pursuing this just because it's convenient, or am I pursuing this because it's part of my life covenant? It's who God has created, called, assigned me to be. You got to ask yourself, am I just doing something because I don't want to be bored by myself, or am I building or creating something that has covenant implications? The soul aligned with God understands that every connection, hear me when I say this, every connection you make has weight. Right? Every connection, every relationship, it has a level of weight that comes with it. What I've learned is sometimes convenient relationships carry more weight than the covenant ones. And when I say weight, I mean baggage. I mean, I don't know what it's like to be in a relationship and just feel weighed down. Everything is baggy around you. You're full, it's full of baggage. It's not the will or the wisdom of God. It's just full of excess weight and baggage. What God wants to create in your life are the covenants that are sacrificial, that are life-giving, that are spiritually in agreement. He wants to bring your soul into the right places of agreement with the right people at the right time. Convenience is about comfort. When we're in covenant, it's about sacrifice.
Can I just add this? Yeah. I remember when we first got married. My husband was in school getting his master's degree. We moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was working, I was teaching school, and I became the breadwinner at the beginning of our marriage, right? People in the family said, "Oh, you crazy? A man's supposed to take care of a woman, and I wouldn't be. He going to school, and you." I had to shut the noise because I knew what our covenant was about. I knew what we were working towards. And one thing my husband, we would always say, we would declare this together. It won't always be like this. It won't always be like this. It won't always be like this. This is what's happening now, and I'm working like this now for our future. And so what I had to do is be sure that I had discernment, because some people didn't even, it wasn't that they didn't love me, and some didn't mean me wrong. It was just that they wasn't hearing what I was hearing from God. Yep. And because I knew what God had called me into covenant with this man. You don't come over here and count my pockets for one. But I had to stop and silence the noise, literally, because I understood the way our covenant was going to go. It might not have been like something that they had seen, but we were working towards something together. And his character told me, once he finished school, because the way it was, he would go to school in the middle of the day, 12, he would have a class at 7. He worked a part-time job at DirecTV. And so, we did what we had to do, but if you do not do the soul work, and you're not in a place of alignment where you can hear the voice of God, you will let people who say they love you talk you out of something that should be covenant, because they don't understand, because they don't hear what you hear, because this is not their covenant.
Absolutely. So here is a beautiful example. Here are your signs of covenant alignment. Here's how you know that you are aligned from a covenant perspective in the right way. Number one, you both hear from God and you consult Him in all of your decision making. This is for every single person. I want you to hear me. I'm talking to married couples too. For every single person, if you are currently seeing someone that isn't consulting God about the major pieces in their life right now, they'll never consult Him about your mind moves.
Come on.
Okay? So you want to be sure that your life aligns with someone who hears from God and consult Him concerning decision making. If you are a married couple, it's the space where we're not making life-altering decisions without placing those decisions on the altar of God, right? That we want to hear from God together, and we want to be sure that we don't miss God because we got in the way. So number one, you both hear from God and you invite him into decision making. Number two, you sacrifice for the vision, not just for each other. Because there will be moments in covenant where the immediate gratification out of decisions doesn't happen right now. Right? It doesn't give or bear fruit immediately. But you're willing to sacrifice for the long-term vision that God created you, your family, your covenant for. So love, covenant is sacrificial. Number three, and this is for me the most important, your relationship pushes you closer to purpose and not just pleasure. If all they do is make you laugh, but they can't lead you in the direction of God, you'll have great entertainment, but you'll never have anything that's eternal. You want to make sure that whoever God has sent into your life to help lead you, to help lead your life and help you become everything you were called and created for, that they push you closer to purpose, right? That they will not let you get comfortable not fulfilling God's assignment for your life. That they become aggravated and agitated when you're not doing what it is you were called and born for. You want someone in your life that wants to push you to better, not hold you back from becoming it. And I'm gonna say this. Let me say this for the singers. You can't grow and go with someone who is already jealous of what you carry. I gotta say this. You have to be sure that whoever God aligns your life with, they are not jealous of what God put on the inside of you. Because here's the truth. Y'all let me give you these truths. We're going to wrap this up. I'm going to share the last couple pieces with y'all that I need to share with you. If we were to put, let me come back with it. If you were to put Fanika and I in a room right now, or just throw us in a room with people that know us and people that don't. Let me just be honest. 75 to 80% of the room is going to gravitate in the direction of Fanika Friend. Right? I know it. I've watched it happen in church. I've watched it happen at restaurants. I've watched it happen in airports. You know what I mean? We were traveling back from Philadelphia or Pennsylvania 2 weeks ago, and flight attendant sees us, male flight attendant. And he stops, he says, Fanika Friend. I mean, he stops us. We're on the little train or the little walk-in escalator. Yeah. We're walking. He stops. He tries to hold a hand. Fanika Friend. It's like, I knew that was you. And it literally happens everywhere we go. Now, if I were jealous of the way God has put something in my wife that naturally attracts, she don't even have to try. She just naturally attracts people. If I was jealous of what it was that she carried, I would always be trying to make shrink what she does naturally, right? But because when I met her, this is who she was. When the first day I met her, this is fully who she was. It would be wrong of me to see a gift and want to box the gift in a space that it couldn't thrive and grow, right? So if you are with someone, or if you are contemplating a covenant level relationship with someone, this is even friends. Like, if you've got friends that are jealous of what you carry, that ain't really a friend. They are an opportunist looking for an opportunity for you to fall. Because you can't be close to me and jealous of what I carry. Okay, I know I said a lot in that speech.
It's
good.
I
said a whole lot in that speech. But you don't just need a partner. You need a destiny helper. You need someone that's going to push your purpose and not just for pleasure. You don't want someone that just wants to feel good. You want someone that helps you be good. So finally, here's your last checklist. Here's your last homework assignment, and I want you to do it again. Anything that you've heard tonight that you've taken notes on, you can tag us, put it on IG, put it wherever. We've been going back reading every night with people. I posted, can't even reshare it all. Share here and there, but please let us know the things that are sticking with you. So finally, for every single person, this is what I'm asking you to do. Before you get to the end of this week, I want you to list your top 5 values that you want in a relationship and the 5 goals that you want to happen in your life relationally. With the opposite sex, I want you to list what are your values, and on the other side of that, what are the goals? What is it that you're looking for in long-term relationship? You're going to start creating a vision for your relationship before God ever even showed you a partner to come into it with. Here's why this is important. If you know what you want out of it, and you meet someone that passes the eye test, but they don't pass the purpose test, you're not going to let your eye gate deceive you from the purpose God put on the inside.
And let me add this, and when you're writing your list, and if you're putting things on the list that you haven't done, or you're not willing to do yourself, you might need to scratch that one.
Scratch it.
Okay? Because this is the thing. We write this list, and we have all these expectations, and we don't do any of those things, right? Oh, they better be fit, go to the gym 5-7 days, they better have a they better, and we don't do any of those things, right? So if we're putting the list, let's right? I'm gonna raise up. We're gonna be honest.
Let's be realistic.
Let's be realistic with the list.
Let's not, we talked about it last night. Let's not go into fantasy thinking.
That's it.
Even as it pertains to ourselves. Let's not go into fantasy. Let's be realistic, right? So this is going to help you see who fits the assignment and not just who fits the attraction.
Yeah.
For our couples, for every married couple that's watching tonight, here's what I want you to do. Evaluate your shared vision. What is your family vision? Like for us, it's time for us, even talking to this, to revisit our family vision, right? Yeah. It's time for us to look again. Okay, what are the things that God has called and created us to do? How close are we hitting the mark? Where are we missing the mark?
Yeah.
And what can we do to improve what it is that God has called us to do? So evaluate your shared visions. Where is it aligned? And where is it drifting, right? Because we started here. This was our why. But if we don't revisit the why enough, it gets out of alignment. Yeah. And again, the whole purpose is soul alignment. Yeah. Finding your soul and the people God has called into your circle and sphere, finding that in alignment. And finally, what is God calling you to build together? Because hear me, and I want you to hear me as I say this candidly. God did not call you into marriage just to have a good time. God did not call you into marriage just so you can have sex without the guilt of going to hell. God did not call you into marriage just so that you don't have to be by yourself your whole life. God calls you into purpose and partnership and purpose with someone because there's something you're created to build together. What is God calling you to build with someone that's going to have lasting impact, legacy, and longevity? Right? That is the crux of it all. So we have talked about your heart. We've talked about your mind. We've talked about your soul. This is the threefold cord internally that keeps you together. God will call someone with a healthy one with you. And once you unite these pieces and these parts with God, I believe it will not easily be broken. Believe you're not going to bond with trauma anymore. Trauma is not going to be the other part of the cord that holds you together. For every married couple, for every single individual, you're not going to look for satisfaction and fulfillment in spaces and places that don't have the ability to hold you up. You're going to see yourself and what God has called you into for longevity and legacy purposes from the right lens. This is Relationship Revolution. You have done 3 days of soul work, heart, mind, and soul. And I'm believing. You got to finish your homework now. You've listened to us talk about it. You've got to finish your homework. But I'm believing on the other side of this, you're going to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living from a relational perspective. Some of God's goodness, He's just about to send you good relationships. He's about to send the right people into every part of your life.
And I hear the Lord say, look again.
Look again.
And listen, this is for single, this is for marriage. You've been saying, man, my marriage been feeling on the rocks. I heard the 3 nights. I don't know what our purpose is. Look again. Pray again. Come together once again. And find those places where you all can realign. That is just tune-up, okay? This ain't the time to throw in the towel, okay? This is the time to look again.
Yes.
For those who are single and saying, man, I don't know when my time is going to come. I feel like I'm getting too old now, so maybe I'm just going to go on and stay in auntie and aunt status. Look again. Look again.
So I'm believing that coming out of this, I'm not gonna pray for you yet. I'm gonna wait till we get to the very end. Part of the reason why, and I shared this with you all last night, part of the reason why we even journeyed down this road is because we believe God has called us to build healthy communities.
Yeah.
Like our call is to inform married couples to show and to be examples of doing family well, doing marriage well, doing relationship well, not perfect, but striving to do it well. But we also feel we get more inboxes and more DMs from single individuals like, hey, what do I do while I wait? Or what can I work on in these parts of me as I wait for what God's going to say?
Yeah.
Tonight, I want to open up an opportunity for you all to join something that Fanika and I are doing for the very first time, really just out of obedience to God. And it's something that we are, even as we're doing it, we are figuring it out. We are learning from it. We are prepared to grow into it. And that is building healthy communities.
Yeah.
Creating spaces where we nurture, lead, and create safe spaces for people to fully become everything that God has called them to be. So, tonight, because you're on here, and for these next 2 weeks, you get the opportunity to join in community with us in a safe space, but also at a cost that's going to look different than it's going to look in the next couple weeks. So, y'all, we are building communities for singles and for married couples. Y'all, let's just go ahead. Let me just USA, right? This is a big moment, right? We are building communities for singles and for married. And we're doing this in a space and in a way where anybody that wants to be connected to community will be able to do it and be able to do it easily and well, right? So in the next couple moments, Jason's going to be dropping a link in the chat in just a few moments. And as she drops that link, I don't want you to go to it just yet, but as she drops that link, you're going to be able to click one button, and in clicking that button, as a single, you're going to have an opportunity to join one of 3 communities.
Yeah.
And as a married couple, you're going to be able to join one of 3 communities, right? Now, at baseline level, like for at tier 1, for the opening of every community, we wanted to make sure that this was something that was cost effective for anybody. Like for anybody. And when I say cost effective, I mean if you in the month sacrifice one Chick-fil-A meal, you will be able to be a part of the community. Yeah. If you bypass Starbucks one day, some of y'all half a day, right? You'll be able to be a part of it at this initial rate. So for those that just want community, they want to be a part of weekly devotionals with Fanika and I. You want to be a part of a resource library that we'll be building with information for singles and for married couples. These communities are going to look the same. They're just 2 different circles. And then access to a private once a month live interaction with Fanika and I. You can be a part of our tier 1 group as single or married. All right, for every married couple, it is $12 a month. For every single person, it is $12 a month. We ain't charging you double because you're married, because the 2 have become one. All right, the 2 have become one. The 2 have become one. All right, so that's the simple. That's like baseline level. Hey, I want to just be better at doing life as a single individual. I want to be better at doing life as a couple. That's tier 1. The next level of opportunity that you have, and again, same price for married and for couples, is $47 a month. Yes. Tonight, now, it's $47 a month. And tier with the second level of connection for both singles and for married, you get everything that you get in tier 1. So you get the community. Our communities are being built literally right now. As you join it, you're going to be getting information, emails, a whole 9 yards, right? So But in tier 2, what you're going to get in tier 2 that's not in tier 1 is within the next 2 weeks, we're going to have a beginning of a database of on-demand courses that you'll be able to take. Yeah. Now, the part I ain't shared just yet, but I feel like now is the moment I need to share, is that since the top of the year, I've started working on 2 ebooks. All right, I put it out as a poll, I think on Facebook. Yes. And I started writing these Facebook posts.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm so proud of you.
Called "Get Out of the Pool." All right, this is for singles. Yeah. And the concept of "Get Out of the Pool" is this: you may really be looking for a serious relationship. You're just swimming in the wrong waters. It may not be that the pool is the problem. The water may not be the issue. It may just be time for you to find another space to swim, right? So I've got an ebook that I wrote called "Get Out of the Pool," and with tier 1, tier 2 for our singles, the very first classes that you're going to have on demand to be able to go through are literally going to be taking you through the book, Get Out of the Pool. It's going to be an 8-week course, and it's going to be everything that you need to know as it pertains to the way that you look at, see, and perceive the way that you date, the way that you choose, the way that you're chosen. But on top of that, we're going to have full course library on what communication looks like in marriage, what communication looks like in singleness, how to build your faith together as married couples, and then how to have faith for what you're waiting for God to do. On top of a myriad of other courses and classes that you'll be able to take on demand. But with that, with tier 2, there's also a monthly coaching class. So monthly, once a month, we're going to be getting on together doing group coaching with those that are in tier 2. And group coaching will look a little bit similar to how these classes have been. The place where I think what God has done in us that is unique for us is the ability to be very authentic in what we present, very transparent in what we present, but making it practical where anybody can grab it or get it. That's $47 for singles. That's $47 for couples. Okay. The last tier is tier 3, and this one just goes a little bit deeper for both the couples and for singles. For tier 3, our desire is to be able to coach relationships at a different level. Yeah. All right. We get messed like right now. If I were to be honest with you, in our email right now, if Jason were to just pull the list, pull the roll out right now, there are emails right now of individuals that want counseling, that need A, B, C, or D, and are looking for an opportunity to help make that happen. And while we can't take all of them on that we end up getting, what we have decided to do is create a tier where we work with couples in marriage mentorship, coaching, and helping them become who and what God has called them to be and do. But we also are doing the same thing with singles in coaching in life, decision making, and everything God has created and called you to do. So in tier 3, you get the ability to have a monthly private coaching and mentorship session with us or a couple that we will designate as a part of our mentorship and coaching team. You're going to receive personalized strategies and goals for your marriage. I'm talking to the married people now. Personalized strategies and goals for your marriage. Ideas on how to hit your benchmarks. How to hit the goals that you're trying to hit as a married couple. VIP support and exclusive event perks, because we're committed 2026 to come back to doing events. We ain't gonna do it this year. Yeah. This year, we're just trying to get through creating content that everybody needs on top of couch conversation.
And if anybody was on at Friends First, y'all know our event is all
big, right? But all of these, for our married couples are to create a sacred space for you to grow and become what God has called you to be. But for our singles, it's really the same thing. At tier 3 level, our desire is, again, that monthly one-on-one mentorship piece. If you're a woman and you're looking for that mentorship from Vanika will create that space, and if you're a man or if you're a woman and you just want insight from a man's perspective, we'll create that space for that to happen. Personalized life strategy and even dating strategy, if that's where you are. And then again, just access to be able to be supported from a month-to-month perspective. Now, all of this, again, none of this comes out with any long-term commitments. It's literally month-to-month. You can get in this month 1, you can stay 3 months, you can stay a year, you can stay 5 years. As long as you feel like you're receiving and getting everything that God has called for us to pour. We're still going to be doing couch conversations. Couch conversations are still going to be on YouTube. There's still going to be stuff that the public gets, but you all will be getting a different type of pour from us. Some of it will be pours that you read. Some of it will be short video devos and video prayers, and we'll be aiming and targeting towards a space of life or a particular life goal or goal that we have for the month for the separate groups. But all of it is ultimately to create community and to give you a space to grow into everything that God has called and created you to be. And we tried to keep it in a space and at a rate that was easy for anyone to attain if they desire to continue to grow together, all right, or to grow into what God has called them to be and do. Now, you may be one that says, you know what, this right now is something I would love to do. I'm ready to jump on it right now. Chase, drop that link one more time. Matter of fact, if anything that you've heard, you feel like this could be, like this is exactly what my life needs right now, or this is where I've been, drop an emoji in the chat for me. Drop any emoji. Drop anything. If you're like, okay, this is exactly where we need to be. This is exactly where I'm called to be. And if for you, you're saying, you know what, I am ready to make that next step and that next commitment, I will just drop me any emoji in the chat. For everyone else, here's what I ask. I'm asking if this is something you would prayerfully consider. You're going to see for the next 2 weeks, pricing on this is not going to change. We've been given an assignment by God, and we're going to do this in a way that hopefully reaches people right where they are and allows people to be able to connect in right where they are. If over this next week, these next 2 weeks, is something you would just prayerfully consider. You're still going to see content coming from us on socials. You're still going to see stuff coming here, YouTube Shorts, even from what we've created over the last 3 days. Here's my ask. If you would just pray to God and ask Him, where do I need to be from a relational perspective? And what is it that God is trying to do in my life? So, with all that said, I just want to pray for you, and we're out. Father, thank you for everything that you've already done in this space and in this room. And I pray that tonight, as we leave this space, as we leave this group that you've entrusted us with for the last few nights, I pray that you help us fully become and help us push people to fully become all that they were created for. Thank you for grace. Thank you for love. And thank you for giving us the ability to do what you've called us to do and to do it well. So we love you, we thank you, and give you glory for it all now. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
You know, we love you. Thank you for trusting us with your heart, with your time. And I pray that something that happened in these 3 days changed your life, but what we're about to do next is going to change it even more. We'll see you soon.
Good night.